Hello and welcome to another indie game review here for the Sanitarium.FM, with me, your reviewer, the predicted Cyborg, and today we will be reviewing a little action-adventure indie game, a platformer, called Nefarious, developed and published by the same studio, Starblade. Nefarious is the story of the villain, you know, the typical platformer thing. There's a villain, kidnaps a princess, or ruins the world or something. Hero comes to try and stop them, runs through a whole bunch of 2D levels, beating stuff up and going through enemies. Except this is a little bit different, as you may have noticed from the title. I mean, a game about a hero is hardly going to be called Nefarious now, is it? Instead of playing as the hero, you get to play as the villain. You know, the one who comes in and kidnaps a princess and screws the world up, evil deeds, etc, etc, etc. So yeah, that's what this game is about. You get to play the story of the villain of the story. The villain, in this case, being a guy called Crow, whose main world seems to be a city-like place, the princess called Mayapple, and the villain is a Mega Man-esque character called Mac. Crow has his own little doom fort full of robotic minions and a major domo called Becky. And you can tell really from the dialogue that happens throughout, well, the first mission and later on as well, that this whole sort of thing between Mac and Mayapple and Crow is a regular thing. Heck, at this point, the princess even knows the name of some of the minions and asks about their family every single time they come. And there's actually a meal that she has every single time that she's kidnapped. So yes, the story of this game kind of takes the piss out of the whole sort of constantly being kidnapped princess thing and the hero-villain dynamic. I mean, other games and media have done it before, but it's always nice to see this being played, and it is kind of funny as well, especially since, spoiler alert here, when you actually come to the end of the first level, Mac the hero decides that he's not going to save the princess, and apparently they're dating, and he decides to break up with her because she sees Crow more than she sees him, which is because obviously Crow is constantly kidnapping her, but it is actually just kind of funny to watch this all play out. And as I say, other medias have done this before and other games as well, but it is always a favourite trope of mine to see played out. So I've spoken a lot about the story now and the particular tropes that it plays, but what is this game like? How to play? Basically, as I say, this is a 2D platformer. You run around, you jump from platform to platform, climbing ever higher, you encounter enemies, which you must defeat. Now, Crow has two attacks. First of all, he has his punch, which is tied to the right-hand mouse button. You have little prompts on screen to show you how to do certain things like jump and punch, obviously, during the first level. And then, about halfway through the first level, maybe even not halfway, maybe like 3/4, you do actually manage to get grenades, which you can use to hit high-up switches and to blow things up. There is a timer on them, though, and they're a little bit hard to use, but once you get hold of them and you get the hang of them, they are quite useful. They are quite good, and obviously they can take out walls that your punch cannot. Although, to be honest, the punch is pretty damn powerful. Most enemies will go down with a single punch, although some of them in the second level do tend to be a little bit tougher, but mainly because they have armours or shields or just natural strong bodily armour, because the second level is full of insects and, you know, they've got like the whole sort of exoskeleton thing going on. Yeah. Anyway, throughout the game, obviously, like any standard platformer, you've got pickups, and in this case it takes the form of coins and currency, which you collect and you then use to buy yourself upgrades in between the levels when you're in your Dreadfort. You do have your standard hit points. You've got 3 hearts worth of health. Some enemies will take off 1 heart on a hit, some will take off half. Sometimes when you defeat an enemy, you will gain like heart canisters back, but other times, and most of the time actually, they do drop grenade pickups, which you can then use to add to your grenade total if they haven't fully regenerated yet, which if you're using a lot of bombs at that point, it's pretty damn useful. Upon losing all your heart canisters, you will die and respawn back at the last flag that you touch. The place is indicated by little red arrows with an X pointing, which when you pass over them, you then spawn a red flag. You'll come back to one of those, and every single time you die, you will leave in the place where you die, a floating box, which is a percentage of the money that you have on your person at that time. And you can go back, and if you hit that box, you either blow it with a grenade, or you punch it, or you even just touch it, the box will burst open, and you'll gain back that wealth. But sometimes when you die, that box will be in an inaccessible place, and then you've lost it for good, basically, because you can't go back down and grab it, because when you grab it, you will die again, and the cycle will repeat over and over and over again. So this is what the game plays like. So how did I find this to play? I actually really quite enjoyed it. As I said, the story plays out one of my favourite tropes with the hero, villain, princess kidnapping sort of thing. The whole sort of, hey, we're all people, we're all doing this, hey, I know your minions, I know about your families. This happens so often that I have a sweet and a meal prepared that you know what to get me sort of thing. I love to see that trope being played out, so yeah, that appealed to me. As a game, I really did enjoy it. I do have a few niggles about it though, one of which being the binding of the two main attacks. Usually a punch attack or your main attack is bound to the left hand key, and I kept making the mistake of assuming the punch was bound to the left-hand key and the grenades to the right. Most games do it that way around, but this game switched it the other way. I'm not entirely sure why, but after a while I do kind of get used to it, although sometimes I will still click the left-hand key thinking that it is for a punch when it is grenades. Usually this still works out in my favour because grenades do not harm you, which is good, thank God. But, you know, sometimes it is a little bit annoying when I throw a grenade when I meant to punch, because grenades are more of a ranged type weapon, and your punch move is obviously more of a close-up thing. One of the upgrades you can get to charge your punch, but the punch does take a little while to charge up, so I often find myself just spam clicking the right hand key to just punch an awful lot of times. And as I say, most enemies, at least during the early game, will go down with one good punch anyway, so it is the cheapest upgrade to get though, so that's generally why I tend to get it, because during the first level it's very hard to gain 1500 of the currency to buy any other upgrade which is available at that point. It does sound as if I'm being kinda down on this game because I'm emphasising what I found negative about it, but really, the reason I'm accenting the negative is because I know exactly what is niggling me, whereas with the positives, everything else is just an overall positive experience. The game plays fluidly, everything moves well, the story is engaging, I love the characters, and it is overall just a very good platformer. I just can't really put my finger on anything specific as being an overall positive for me. Just, it does so much well, and the few things that it doesn't do so well, as I say, are clear enough for me to know what it doesn't do well, and to be able to tell you. Overall, I would say get this game if you're into 2D platformers, you like something with a little bit of character, a little bit of humour to it. It's retailing at the moment on Steam for $10.99 in the UK and around about $14.99 in the US. So if you want a game for that money, I'm definitely going to recommend that you go and get this one. I mean, for £11 or $15, you really are going to get something, and there is a slight challenge to it. We have thought that maybe this game would be better played with a controller, but unfortunately I don't have a controller at the moment, so I'm not able to test that out. Give it a go for yourself though, you might find yourself pleasantly surprised with how well you play it. And so that does it for another indie game review here from the Sanitarium.FM YouTube channel. Remember, tune in to our radio shows at the website www.sanitarium.fm. Join us in our Discord at www.sanitarium.fm/discord. And stay tuned to this YouTube channel for news videos and more indie game reviews like this one. I have been the Predicted Cyborg reviewing Nefarious, and I will see you for the next one. Bye bye.